Humans? What a joke. That was my first thought when I, Commander Kraz'Taak of the mighty Veldorian fleet, laid eyes on them. So small, so fragile, so pink, and they called themselves apex predators? Hey, I nearly ruptured my secondary breathing sac from laughing too hard. Don't underestimate them, warned Admiral Kraz'Taak as we approached the grand hall of the Galactic Summit. The soft-skins survived 3 extinction-level events on their rock of a planet. So they're lucky cockroaches, I snorted, adjusting my ceremonial armor. The weight of 14 campaign medals clinked against my chest plate. Each one earned in glorious combat. Each one paid for in purple Veldorian blood. The human delegation entered the chamber, and I sized them up with practiced military precision. Pathetic. No exoskeletons. No natural weapons. Not even basic radiation resistance. Their lead negotiator was a female they called Maya Blackwell. Dark hair, darker eyes, skin the color of fertile soil. Nothing remarkable. Then the summit attack happened. Proximity mines detonated. Security barriers failed. Chaos erupted as assassins stormed the chamber. Everyone scattered everyone except Maya Blackwell. She moved with shocking speed, flipping a conference table for cover. When an assassin rushed her position, she didn't hesitate. The human female barely half my size executed a combat maneuver that broke the attacker's arm in 3 places. 3, I counted. Ambassador, behind you, she shouted, hurling a decorative sphere that knocked out a second assassin targeting me. Our eyes met across the smoke-filled chamber. No fear. Only calculation and resolve. Well, perhaps these humans weren't just lucky cockroaches after all. This Maya Blackwell might actually be interesting. 2 lunar cycles after the summit attack, I found myself doing something I'd never imagined. Working with humans. Not just any humans, Maya Blackwell and her security team. The attack had been traced to the Hive Collective, those parasitic brain suckers who'd been expanding at the galaxy's edge. And now we had a common enemy. Commander Kraz'Taak, your strike team will approach from the southern quadrant, Maya explained during mission briefing. She used her fingers to trace attack vectors on the holographic display. Such strange appendages, so nimble yet so breakable. And your soft skins will manage the northern approach without getting yourselves killed? I asked, mandibles clicking in what humans called my smirk. Maya didn't rise to the bait. Jackson briefed the commander on our tactical capabilities. A tall human male stepped forward. Jackson Reeves, Maya's second in command and, I'd learned, her mate. He had lighter coloring, and what humans called a beard decorative facial hair that served no apparent purpose. Our exoframes compensate for our inferior strength, Jackson explained, tapping his forearm where a slim device was attached. And our thermal dampeners will mask our approach from Hive sensors. Fancy toys, I grunted, but do your people have the stomach for this fight? Jackson just smiled. Guess you'll find out soon enough. The mission began smoothly, too smoothly. The Hive installation was lightly defended, the outer guards easily neutralized. My warrior instinct screamed trap, but headquarters insisted we proceed. We pushed deeper into the structure, my team of 6 Veldorian elites alongside 4 humans in their sleek exoframes. The tunnels narrowed, forcing us into single file. The walls pulsed with that sickly green bioluminescence typical of Hive architecture. The air stank of their sweet rot pheromones. I don't like this, Maya whispered over comms. Scans show a large chamber ahead. Multiple heat signatures. Afraid, human? I taunted, though privately I shared her concern. Cautious, she corrected. There's a difference. We breached the chamber entrance and walked straight into hell. Not a regular hive nest, a queen chamber. Dozens of drones swarmed toward us from hidden recesses. Acid projectiles sprayed the air. My warriors formed a defensive perimeter as I barked orders, my battle rage building. Then I felt a burning sting at my neck joint, where my armor didn't quite cover. A direct hit from a Hive stinger. "Commander down," someone shouted. I fought to stay conscious, firing my plasma rifle on automatic. Through blurring vision, I saw Jackson and Maya fighting back to back, their movements synchronized like veteran Veldorian shield pairs. Not bad. For humans. The extraction was chaos. My team dragged me aboard the escape shuttle as fever gripped me. The Hive toxin spread through my system like liquid fire. I faded in and out of consciousness during the return flight, catching fragments of urgent conversation. Rare neurotoxin variant. Attacking his circulatory system. Antivenoms aren't working. Later in the medical bay of our orbital station, I awoke to heated voices. My body felt wrong, burning yet freezing, my 3 hearts struggling to maintain circulation. Through the haze of pain, I recognized Maya and Dr. Prel-VOC, our chief medical officer. "He's dying," Prel-VOC insisted. "The toxin has mutated to target his hemocirculation system. We can't synthesize a counteragent fast enough." "What exactly does the toxin do?" Maya demanded. "It attacks the lanthanic particles in his blood cells, the component that makes Veldorian blood purple. Without functioning blood cells, his organs will shut down within hours." Maya went quiet, that calculating look crossing her face. "Humans don't have lanthanic particles in our blood." "Obviously," Prel-VOC snapped. "You're primitive hemoglobin-based." "Could human blood work?" Maya interrupted. "As a temporary measure? If the toxin has nothing to bind to, it might buy you time to develop a proper treatment." The doctor's eye stalks whipped toward her. Preposterous. Cross-species transfusion has never been attempted. The rejection alone could kill him faster than the toxin. Jackson has O-negative blood. Universal human donor. Maya turned to her mate, who had entered the medical bay. "It might work." Jackson didn't hesitate. "I'll do it." "This is madness," Prel-VOC protested. "Commander Kraz'Taak is one of our most decorated warriors. I won't risk his life on your primitive medical theories." I struggled to speak, my mandibles barely moving. "Do it." All eyes turned to me. "The human blood," I rasped. "If I die anyway, at least it will be interesting." "You heard him," Maya said firmly. "Get prepped, Jackson." As the medical team scrambled to arrange the unprecedented procedure, I heard Jackson ask Maya, "Are you sure about this? What if it kills him?" Maya's response was the last thing I heard before slipping back into darkness. "If we're going to build any real alliance, someone has to take the first risk. It might as well be us. This is a violation of every medical protocol." Dr. Prel-VOC's voice rose to a horrified screech. His assistants chittered nervous agreement as they prepared the transfusion equipment. But human blood in a Veldorian circulatory system? It's never been done. "And Kraz'Taak's never been poisoned by mutated Hive toxin before," Maya countered. "Unprecedented problems require unprecedented solutions." Through my delirium, I watched Jackson extend his arm. So thin, so vulnerable. A single slash from my talon could sever it completely. Yet here he was, offering his life fluid to save mine. Ridiculous. Admirable. Confusing. "His body temperature is spiking," a medical technician announced. "Organ failure imminent." "Begin transfusion," Dr. Prel-VOC ordered, his professional training finally overriding his objections. May the cosmic ancestors forgive me. The human's red blood, so bright, so alien, flowed through clear tubes toward my veins. My last conscious thought before the fever consumed me completely. I, Commander Kraz'Taak of the Veldorian battle fleet, would either die or live because of a human. How embarrassing. Then came the dreams. I stood on a vast plain under an unfamiliar yellow sun. The gravity felt wrong, lighter than home, heavier than space. A creature approached, neither Veldorian nor human, but somehow both. It spoke without words. Your people evolved to survive radiation and vacuum. Heirs evolved to survive themselves. The landscape shifted. I saw primitive humans hunting massive beasts with nothing but sharpened sticks. Watched them survive ice ages and plagues, observed their wars, endless, brutal conflicts that should have exterminated them, but somehow made them stronger. They call it adaptation, the dream being continued. Their bodies constantly change. Their blood remembers every threat they faced and overcome, millions of years of survival encoded in every cell. The fever dream fractured into fragments, human cells attacking the Hive toxin in my system. Strange proteins binding to my own. My 3 hearts beating in new rhythms. Pain seared through me, not the burning of the toxin, but something more profound. A rewriting. A transformation. Every cell in my body screamed as the human blood worked its strange magic. In my delirium, I heard Dr. Kraz'Taak's astonished voice. Impossible. The human cells aren't just neutralizing the toxin, they're enhancing his natural regeneration rate. Look at these readings. His vital signs are stabilizing, another voice confirmed. That's not all, Maya said. Look at his muscle density. It's increasing. The iron in human blood, Dr. Kraz'Taak muttered. It's creating an unexpected reaction with his lanthanic biology. I've never seen anything like it. The dream being's final words echoed as consciousness slowly returned. Their weakness is their strength. Their fragility forced them to become adaptable. And now, that adaptability is yours. I opened my eyes to find the medical bay in an uproar. Screens displayed my vital signs, all stronger than my baseline. Dr. Kraz'Taak was frantically documenting readings while barking orders to his team. Maya and Jackson stood nearby, concern and hope battling on their strange, flat faces. "Welcome back, Commander," Maya said, noticing my alertness first. "How do you feel?" How did I feel? Different, stronger, like my body was humming with new energy. Like I could rip a hive queen apart with my bare hands, I growled, flexing my talons. They moved faster than they should have. More precisely. "What have you done to me, human?" Jackson shrugged. "Just a little iron supplement." 3 days after the transfusion, I stood in the combat simulation chamber, surrounded by the smoking remains of training drones. 47 of them. A new personal record. And I'd barely broken a sweat, or whatever this new human Veldorian hybrid physiology did instead of sweating. "Impressive," Maya said from the observation deck. "Your reaction time is 38% faster than your previous baseline." I crushed a drone head in my talon. The metal crumpled like food wrapper. "Is this permanent?" Dr. Kraz'Taak scuttled into the chamber, his eye stalks swiveling to examine the destruction I'd caused. Unknown. The human blood cells should have died off by now, but instead they've bonded with your native biology. Created something new. "I can hear your hearts beating," I told him. "All the way across the room. And I can smell the nutrient paste you had for breakfast." I flexed my arm, watching the muscles ripple beneath my exoskeleton. "I feel like a warrior from the ancient legends." "You're welcome," Jackson called out, leaning against the doorframe with that irritating human smugness. "Always happy to be of service." The facility alarms blared before I could respond with an appropriately cutting remark. "Proximity alert." A technician's voice announced over the comm system. "Multiple Hive vessels on approach vector." "How did they find our base?" Maya demanded as we rushed to the command center. "Doesn't matter," I growled. "They're here to finish what they started." The tactical display showed 5 Hive cruisers converging on our position. Our defense fleet was scattered on patrol. We had only 2 destroyer-class vessels in orbit. The math was simple and brutal. We were outgunned. "Evacuate all non-essential personnel," I ordered. "Prepare for orbital bombardment." "Wait," Jackson said, studying the display. "These aren't standard attack formations. See how they're clustering. That's a royal escort pattern." Maya nodded. "The Queen herself is coming. This isn't just an attack, it's an execution." "Or an opportunity," I said, a plan forming in my mind. "If we kill the Queen, the entire Hive collective loses coherence for at least 2 molting cycles." "You want to attack?" Dr. Prelviosi's eye stalks quivered in disbelief. "With what? We're massively outnumbered." "With me," I said simply, "and them." I gestured toward Maya and Jackson. "You can't be serious," Prelviosi protested. 3 individuals against 5 Hive cruisers? 4 individuals, said a gravelly voice from the doorway. Lieutenant Kraz'Taak, my second in command, stood there with his battle harness already strapped on. "I volunteer for this suicide mission, Commander." Typical Veldorian thinking, Maya sighed. "We don't need a frontal assault, we need infiltration." 2 hours later, we drifted through space in a modified cargo shuttle, its power signature mask to appear as debris. Ahead loomed the grotesque organic silhouette of the Hive Queen's flagship, a pulsing, chitinous monstrosity the size of a small moon. "This is insane," Kraz'Taak muttered as we prepared our boarding gear. "I mean that respectfully, Commander." "Probably," I agreed, checking my plasma rifle for the 3rd time. The weight felt different in my enhanced grip. Everything felt different now, sharper, more immediate. "Any regrets about donating your blood, human?" I asked Jackson. He shrugged. "Ask me after we survive this." "If," Kraz'Taak corrected. When, Maya countered with that unnerving human confidence. Our shuttle latched onto an excretion port, the Hive equivalent of a waste disposal system. Disgusting but unguarded. We sliced through the membranous barrier and entered the vessel's circulatory tunnels. "Remember," Maya whispered as we moved deeper, "standard Hive architecture puts the Queen's chamber at the center of the ship." "I can smell her," I realized suddenly. My enhanced senses picked up pheromones through my breather mask. "This way." We encountered resistance, of course we did. Drone warriors swarmed from side tunnels, worker drones transformed into battle configuration. But something had changed in how I fought. I could see their movements before they happened. It could anticipate attack vectors with impossible precision. My talons tore through Hive chitin like paper. When a stinger grazed my arm, the same toxin that had nearly killed me before my body neutralized it instantly. "Commander, on your left," Jackson shouted, firing his sonic disruptor to cover me. We fought our way inward, chamber by chamber. Maya's tactical genius, Jackson's adaptability, Kraz'Taak's stoic courage, my newfound power. Together we were unstoppable. The Queen's inner sanctum doors loomed before us, a massive pulsing barrier ringed with defensive stingers. "Now what?" Kraz'Taak asked, ducking as acid projectiles splashed nearby. "That door is impenetrable." I studied the biomechanical structure. With my enhanced vision, I could see weak points in the cellular matrix. "Not anymore," I growled, and charged. The door shattered under my assault. Inside, the Hive Queen reared up 20 feet of segmented horror, surrounded by royal guards. "You dare?" Her telepathic voice hammered our minds. "You insignificant morsels dare challenge me?" "Actually," I said, raising my rifle, "we do." What followed was chaos. Royal guards attacked from all sides. The Queen's psychic assaults battered our mental defenses. In the old days, I would have been overwhelmed. But now I moved like lightning, my reflexes impossibly fast. "Maya, the neural node," I shouted, spotting the glowing organ at the Queen's thorax base. She understood immediately, coordinating our attack with hand signals. Jackson laid down covering fire while Kraz'Taak created a diversion. I leapt higher than any Veldorian should be able to jump, landing on the Queen's back. "This is for the poison," I snarled, driving my combat blade into her neural node. The Queen's death scream rippled through the ship. Royal guards collapsed, suddenly directionless. The entire vessel shuddered as the controlling intelligence died. "We need to move," Maya urged. "This whole ship is going to shut down." We fought our way back to the shuttle, the Hive vessel collapsing around us. As we pulled away, the flagship began to break apart, sending ripples of confusion through the remaining Hive fleet. Kraz'Taak watched through the viewport, mandibles slack with astonishment. "You did it, Commander. You actually killed a Hive queen." "No," I corrected, looking at my human companions. "We did it, together." And that's when I understood what had really changed. Not just my body. Not just my strength or speed or senses. Something else, something almost human, had seeped into my warrior's spirit. A capacity to see beyond our differences. The ability to become more than the sum of our parts. Perhaps, after all, that was the human's greatest strength. 6 lunar cycles after the death of the Hive Queen, I stood before the Veldorian High Council, something no warrior of my rank had ever done. Warriors fought. Politicians talked. That was the way of things. Not anymore. The humans have requested a formal alliance. First Speaker Tralvo has announced to the assembled dignitaries. And they have specifically asked that Commander Kraz'Taak serve as our ambassador. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. A warrior as diplomat, unprecedented. "I accept," I said, surprising even myself with how right it felt. Later, at the formal ceremony aboard the orbital diplomatic station, I watched as Maya and Jackson entered the Great Hall. They looked different in their formal attire, less dangerous, but no less impressive. "Ambassador Kraz'Taak," Maya greeted me with that quirk of her lips humans called a smile. "The title suits you." Does it? I'm still not convinced. I flexed my talons, still marveling at how they moved with enhanced precision. But the High Council was persuaded by the results of our medical exchange program. And what results they were. The program had started small controlled transfusions of human blood to critically injured Veldorian warriors. Every recipient experienced the same enhancements I had: faster reflexes, heightened senses, increased strength. But more importantly, they gained something we Veldorians had never valued before: adaptability. In return, synthetic compounds derived from Veldorian blood were revolutionizing human medicine. Our natural radiation resistance, when properly synthesized, offered humans protection against cosmic rays during long space travel. Our regenerative properties accelerated their healing. Together, we were becoming more than either species had been alone. "Jackson," I acknowledged my blood donor with a formal Veldorian salute palm over all 3 hearts. "The High Council has voted unanimously to award you the Crimson Talon." His eyes widened. "That's your highest military honor." "No human has ever received it," I confirmed, "until today." As I fastened the medal to his chest, applause erupted from the assembled dignitaries, human and Veldorian alike. "Who would have thought," Jackson mused quietly, "that a simple blood transfusion would change everything?" "Nothing simple about it," I corrected him. "Your blood carried more than just iron and oxygen. It carried your species' entire evolutionary history, your adaptability, your resilience, and your humanity." Maya raised her glass in a toast to unlikely allies. "And unlikelier friends," I added, raising my own. Later, as I stood alone on the observation deck watching the stars, I reflected on the strange journey that had brought me here. From dismissing humans as weak, soft skins to recognizing them as the most adaptable species in the galaxy. From warrior to diplomat. from solitary pride to mutual strength. The irony wasn't lost on me. For centuries, Veldorians had conquered through force, believing strength came from individual power and military might. We had been wrong. The humans, with their fragile bodies and short lives, had discovered the real secret to survival: connection, in cooperation. The willingness to share even the most personal resource, their own blood, to save a former enemy. And in doing so, they hadn't just saved me. They had transformed the future of two species and, perhaps, the entire galaxy. Sometimes the smallest gifts create the greatest changes. All it took was one human, one transfusion, and one chance to see beyond our differences. The rest, as humans say, is history. Our history, together.